In this video, we are going to perform the ChemBio HIV rapid screening test, and this kit will detect HIV-1 or HIV-2 in the assay. What we're looking for here are antibodies in a patient's blood sample that are directed against HIV antigens. So for this kit, there are external controls and there is an internal control line. The external controls are also made by ChemBio and they come in this separate little kit, and there are 3 controls. One control is non-reactive. One reacts with or contains antibodies to HIV-1, and the other contains antibodies to HIV-2. So I have 3 cartridges open here that I will be running controls on. So I'm going to label them non-reactive, HIV-1, HIV-2. And to this kit you need to add only 5 microliters of either control or sample. So I'm going to mix my control for non-reactive using a 5 microliter pipette. I'm going to add 5 microliters to the sample well. Same for HIV-1 control and for HIV-2 control. Now, 5 microliters is not a lot of sample, so also in this kit there's what's called the running buffer. The running buffer is going to be a buffered liquid that is going to push the sample up through the kit. This is also an immunoassay kit, and so we're pushing the sample up across the membrane in the testing area so that any antibodies in that sample can come in contact with the proper antibodies in or antigens in the control and testing area. So I also have another cartridge here, and I have another cartridge here because I'm going to be testing a patient sample, and today I'm going to test myself. So you can use whole blood that has been collected in an EDTA tube, but a lot of times it's just easier to collect a finger stick sample. So I'm going to be collecting a finger stick sample on myself, and the way that we collect the sample for this kit is with a tiny little loop, and this little loop, when you touch it to a drop of blood on a patient's finger, will collect 5 microliters of blood. Okay. So I'm cleaning off my finger. You may notice I already have one Band-Aid on, and that's because this is not the first time I have set up this test today. I also have a lancet. So I'm going to take my lancet, and that one did not work. I got a bum lancet. Let's try that again. Okay, as always, we're going to wipe away the first drop. Then I'm going to get a second drop of blood. I'm going to touch the loop to that drop of blood, and it fills with blood sample. And I'm going to put that 5 microliters of blood sample into the sample well. Because it's still just that tiny little 5 microliters of sample, I also have to add my 3 drops of running buffer to push the sample through the testing system. And this test takes 15 minutes to complete. So I'm going to set a 15-minute timer. And it does say in the directions that you must read the results of the test before 20 minutes have passed. And that's because you may get drying out of the cartridge before that time or after 20 minutes. And we don't want to think we see lines where there are no lines. But rather than make you guys wait 20 whole minutes to see, or 15 whole minutes to see the results, what I did earlier is I set up the results in other cartridges. So our non-reactive cartridge for the non-reactive control does have a control line at the top where you see the C, but it does not have any lines in the testing area. The HIV-1 has a control line at the top and a rather faint but present testing line. So it had HIV antibodies in it that reacted in the test. The HIV-2 control, you see a control line and a really dark test line. No matter how faint or dark the line is, if the line is present, the test is positive. The problem with this test is we don't know if the patient has HIV-1 or HIV-2 based on this test, because the testing line, there's just one space that can test either antibodies to HIV-1 or 2. We just know one of them is present. And then here is Dr. L's result. We've got a control line, no testing line, and so this is a negative result.